There is a bottle sitting in most people's bathroom cabinet right now that most gardeners never think to bring outside. It costs about $1. It has been there the whole time. And what it can do for a garlic crop that is silently struggling right now in May is something I genuinely wish someone had told me years ago. I am talking about hydrogen peroxide. Not a special garden formula, not an expensive spray. The same brown bottle with the white cap you use for cuts and scrapes. And the reason it matters right now in May specifically is something most gardening advice completely skips over. Before I get into this, I want to be clear about one thing. If your garlic looks perfectly healthy right now, green and upright with no spots and no yellowing, this video is still for you. Because the problem I am going to show you today starts invisibly. You cannot see it on the surface. By the time damage shows up clearly on the leaves, it has already been spreading for weeks. The gardeners who act now in May before symptoms appear are the ones who pull a clean, full harvest in July. The ones who wait until they can clearly see something wrong are already behind. So let me tell you what is actually happening in garlic beds right now wherever spring has arrived and the soil is warming up. The temperature is rising fast. After months of cold, the soil is changing quickly, and that warmth combined with spring moisture creates the exact conditions that some of the most damaging garlic pathogens need to become active. Things like root rot and soil-borne fungal problems that live in the ground through winter and wake up when conditions turn in their favor. They attack from below where you cannot see them working. And they can cause serious damage before a single yellowing leaf appears above ground to warn you. Here is the part that most people never connect to their disappointing harvests. These problems do not announce themselves. The plant above ground keeps looking fine. Upright, green, healthy. Meanwhile, something is happening at the root plate that will only become visible in July when you pull the bulbs and wonder what went wrong. That gap between what you see above ground and what is actually happening below is exactly where most garlic harvests are lost. And it is exactly the gap that a simple hydrogen peroxide application addresses right now in May. When you apply a diluted hydrogen peroxide solution to the soil around your garlic plants, it releases a short burst of oxygen into the root zone as it breaks down. That oxygen release temporarily disrupts the conditions that many soil pathogens prefer to establish in. This is not a cure. It is not a standalone disease control method. Think of it as making the environment slightly less hospitable for problems trying to get started in the root zone during this critical window. And as a low-cost preventive step applied at the right moment, it is one of the most accessible things a home gardener can do right now. If you are finding this useful, hit subscribe because every few days I put out a new video on exactly what your garden needs at exactly this moment in the season. No filler. Just what matters this week. Now here is the method because this is where most people go wrong, even when they know about hydrogen peroxide in the garden. The bottle you buy at the pharmacy is 3% hydrogen peroxide. That is the standard concentration and it is exactly what you need. Do not use anything stronger. Anything above 3% can damage plant tissue and harm the roots you are trying to support. Mix 1 part hydrogen peroxide with 3 parts water. Pour it slowly around the base of each garlic plant so it soaks into the root zone rather than running across the surface. Do this once now in mid-May and once more in about 2 weeks. That 2 application window is when it is most useful because it is exactly when soil conditions are most active for the problems you are trying to stay ahead of. Now here is where most gardeners completely misread what they are looking at. You walk past your garlic bed in May. Everything looks fine. The leaves are tall and green. You feel good about it. And that is exactly the moment most gardeners relax. The bed looks good. The season feels on track. They put the watering can down and go inside feeling like they have done their job. That feeling is the problem. Because the plant is not telling you what is happening underground. It never does. The signals only come above ground weeks after the decisions have already been made below. By the time the leaves start yellowing or the plant looks stressed, the bulb formation process is already compromised in ways that cannot be reversed. What you are looking at in May is not the plant as it is. It is the plant as it was 3 weeks ago. This is the reframe that changes everything. May is not a maintenance month. It is a decision month. Every single thing that happens underground in May determines what you pull out of the ground in July. The plant is not waiting, it is building. And it is building with whatever it has available in the root zone right now. Now here is something that most people never connect to garlic yields, and it genuinely surprised me when I first understood it. Roots need oxygen to function efficiently. Not just water. Not just nutrients. Oxygen. In compacted soil or soil that stays wet after heavy rain, the oxygen levels in the root zone drop significantly. The roots slow down. They become less efficient at pulling in the nutrients sitting right there in the soil. You could have perfect fertilization and still get disappointing bulbs because the root system simply cannot process what is available to it. The hydrogen peroxide application delivers a brief oxygen boost to the root zone during the most critical phase of bulb development. Roots working in better oxygenated soil absorb nutrients more efficiently. And that shows up at harvest as heavier, fuller bulbs. The total cost of 2 applications across an entire garlic bed is under $2 for the whole season. But here is what nobody tells you, and it is the part that surprised me most when I finally understood it. It is not just about bulb size, it is about clove count. A garlic plant under soil stress in May does not just produce a smaller bulb. It produces a bulb with fewer cloves inside. The plant under stress reallocates its energy away from clove formation and toward basic survival. So the bulb you pull in July has fewer cloves than it should have had. You are not just losing size, you are losing structure. And that loss was decided in May while the plant looked completely fine above ground. You stood there feeling good about the garden, and the bulb was already making compromises you would not discover until harvest day. Now here's the second thing that most people get completely wrong at this stage, and this one I did not expect. Most gardeners who hear everything I just said about May being a decision month think the answer is to do more, water more, feed more, check on the plants more. And that instinct is exactly backwards. The plant in May does not need more attention from above. It needs better conditions below. Doing more above ground while the root zone is struggling does not help the plant. It just makes the gardener feel better. The intervention has to go underground to where the decisions are actually being made. That is why a simple soil drench works when extra watering and extra feeding do not fix the problem. You are not feeding the plant. You are changing the environment where the plant makes its decisions. That is the real cost of missing the May window. Not the visible disease, not the obvious yellowing. The invisible structural compromise that happens underground while everything above ground still looks perfectly healthy. The plant never warns you. It just quietly decides what kind of harvest you are going to get. The practical routine is simple. Mix 1 part 3% hydrogen peroxide with 3 parts water. Apply slowly around the base of each plant so it reaches the root zone. Do it once now in mid-May and once more in 2 weeks. Keep the soil clear of weeds so the root zone gets full access to whatever nutrients and oxygen you are providing. Water a little less than you think you need to in the second half of May, so the root zone does not become waterlogged and oxygen depleted. These things work together. The hydrogen peroxide is one part of a root zone environment that either supports or limits what the plant can build underground right now. Most gardeners will walk past their garlic bed this week and see healthy plants and feel good about the season. And some of them will pull a full, heavy harvest in July. But a lot of them will pull something smaller and less satisfying than they expected, and they will not know why because nothing ever looked wrong. The plant never told them. The problem happened in May underground while everything above was green and upright and fine. You now know something most gardeners do not. The window is open right now. It will not be open for long. Go find that brown bottle, check the label for 3%, mix your first batch, and get it into the root zone today. 30 minutes, $2. Then reach into the soil in July, wrap your hand around a bulb, and feel whether May was enough. If you want to know what else is being decided underground right now while your garden looks fine, subscribe. The next video covers exactly that. It is already coming.